morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. And we basically have one big character that we were expecting from the upcoming Titan Masters Attack expansion of the Transformers TCG that we've not spoken about yet. You see, the other day we had a look at Big Daddy Optimus, but we haven't had a look at Big Daddy Megatron. So I think it's probably fair that we take a moment here and have a look at Big Daddy Megatron. So, Big Daddy Megatron. Starting off with the stats, we've got an 11-star bot, which is high, not massively high, but then you realise it's not a bot, it's a body, and we need to be adding a head to that, so it's going to be a bit more expensive. And we've got health of 15, which is high. It's not phenomenal, but it's good. Attack of 4 or 5, which is alright or okay. And defense of 1 or 3, which is pretty good or bad. Not loving the stats here, not hating them. Like the attack of 5, like the defense of 3. Don't hate the health of 15. But this is an aggressive tank. This is a tank that is made to be an attacker. We don't see many aggressive tanks. Well, Big Daddy Megs is trying to buck the trend. So what we've got in bot mode, or at least when you flip to bot mode, you get +2 attack until end of turn. Which means that you haven't really got 5 attack in bot mode, you've got 7 attack in bot mode. Oh yeah, that's actually really good. That's pretty gosh darn nice. And then from there, you can start building up your attack, playing some orange icons, playing some other things which are going to help you out. I mean, don't forget, right, you are Megatron, so why not go Fusion Cannon of Megatron? Gives you PS3 and +1 attack, but then again, it's pierced and it's got a blue icon. Maybe that is better reserved for the more defensive Megatron decks. I'll leave it up to you. Moving over into ult mode, when you defend and flip at least 1 orange icon, you do 1 damage to the attacker after the battle. Oh, yeah, it's not bad. It's a little bit of extra cheeky damage. It reminds me very, very much of Electrified Spikes. You cannot play Electrified Spikes onto Megatron, he ain't no Dinobot. But when the upgraded character defends and you flip at least 2 orange icons, do 1 damage to the attacker. Although the timing of the damage is slightly different. So it's kind of like its own little Electrified Spikes. Although it makes me sad now that Electrified Spikes is just for Dinobots, because how much fun would it be to pop Electrified Spikes on here, bearing in mind it's an orange icon card, and then be doing 2 damage when you're attacked. That would sound like fun. Now, to be fair, and I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but don't forget we have actually got Clobber. And now it gets a little bit confusing here, but if you play Clobber as your head, and now Clobber is not a very cheap head, it's a 4-star head, but it gives you bold 3 and we want to be an attacker, so that could work. And then you play the stratagem me Grimlock, you Grimlock, at the cost of 1 star. So you're basically playing a 5-star head, which puts you up to a 16-star character, then you can play Electrified Spikes. But also then in bot mode, you've got a 7 attack, bold free character. It's not just for Electrified Spikes here. This would actually be a head I would seriously be considering playing. You wouldn't play the stratagem unless you also played Electrified Spikes. That would potentially be a bit dumb. Of course, let's carry on down this road for a moment. If you become a Dinobot, you've then got access to all the other Dinobot stuff. You can play Jaws of Steel to give yourself bold 2 in your utility slot without using a weapon. Dino Chomp to give yourself bold 5 if you discard your hand. You can play Grimlock and then flip it to give yourself bold 3, for argument's sake. This is cool. I like the idea of playing Dinobot Megatron. Having said that, I've made no secret of my love for Dinobots, so I'm going to ask you to remember my love for Dinobots when you consider how seriously to take my suggestion of Dinobot Megatron. Am I going to be testing Dinobot Megatron? Yes. Obviously, yes. But I actually really like what we've got going on with Megatron here. Because you see, in ult mode, you're doing cheeky damage, but you're a range character. And the best cheeky damage cards we've got generally are things like Armed Hovercraft and Marksmanship, which are therefore range characters. Albeit both of them have blue icons. If you want to go aggressive, that's a decision you're going to have to make. So what we've got here is a good attacker in body mode, a bit of cheeky damage in ult mode, but a character that really seems to be crying out for orange icons. We're going aggressive with Megatron here. And of course then you're a tank, so you've got access to things like Hunker Down, which can get you extra armor on there. And yes, I'm fully aware that getting the extra armor on there is on a card with a blue icon, but as I've said over and over again, these are decisions that you're going to have to make. You're going to have to decide whether you want to play something like Hunker Down or whether you want to just really stick steadfast with going orange icons. Now, if you're willing to play a few black icons, might I suggest Composite Armor? And that gives you +1 attack, +3 defense, orange and a black icon. But if you defend and flip at least one black icon, you do 1 damage to the attacker. So clearly here you're working very nicely with your ult mode skill to get a bit of extra cheeky damage on there. Composite armor works very nice indeed. Or maybe you could go for a bit of the old crushing treads. You've got pierce equal to your defense, which might not be amazing, but then again, you've got the orange icon, so maybe it will end up being worth it. I don't know. Something to consider. I think there's a lot to like about Megatron here. But there is a stratagem as well. And the stratagem is Revenge! Now, like the Optimus Prime stratagem we saw the other day, it is a 2-star stratagem, which means we've now got 2 2-star stratagems, which really increases the cost tier you have been warned. But your Megatron Fallen Hero has bold based on how many damage counters he has. 1 to 5 damage counters, bold 1. 6 to 10 damage counters, bold 2. 11 or more damage counters, bold 3. Now, bearing in mind here that you've got quite a high number of hit points anyway, and let's not forget that you do have access to Energy Pack because you are an 11-star character, you're only just making it. But who cares? You're making it. And that's kind of the point here. Energy Pack, if you got 11 stars or more, you get +4 health. So maybe that's something you could consider. And then you could be getting bold 3 while you've still got 8 damage counters left before you're actually KO'd. Very much something to consider. Like I've said, Megatron is an attacker. That's what he does. Now, I like the idea of Dinobot Megatron, but what you could go is just full bold Megatron. Bearing in mind you've already got an attack of 5, you've got bold, well if you're undamaged, no bold, but you potentially got up to bold 3 normally, and then you can just start playing the usual bold tricks. You could play stuff like Supercharge to give you bold 3, or Flamethrower to give you bold 2. If you're really feeling lucky, and these cards have not really proven themselves to be amazing, but you could play Superior Cannon to go and give yourself bold 4. Just remember you've got to play it after a tech research, so it's not terribly reliable. This is a Megatron, unlike a lot of the others, that really wants to go, you know what, this looks good. And I'll tell you what, for nothing, if you really want to go this way with Megatron, I am not a huge fan of the head we're going to look at in a moment. The head that I want here has got bold on. I think this is one of those where actually your goal should be, let's get bold. Let's go nuts. So I'm going to want a head that is going to give me some bold. Now, I've already mentioned one head that gives you bold. We do have others. If you don't want to spend many stars, if you want to go a little bit cheap, then you want to be looking for Parsec. Parsec gives you bold 1, but comes in as a 1-star head. So if you've only got 1 star to spare, go for Parsec. If you want to go middle ground, then you've got Flameout. Flameout comes in as a 3-star head that gives you bold 2. So that's alright. Or you can then go Clobber and go bold 3 for 4 stars. and then potentially also make yourself a Dinobot and get those bold tricks as well. I think if you're playing Big Daddy Megs, what you want here is just go nuts. Honestly, that's what I'm looking for. Don't know if that's going to work, don't know if it's going to be amazing, but seems pretty good. Now, there is a suggested head here. The suggested head is Doomshot, and I am underwhelmed. Doomshot is a 3-star head that gives you Brave. Brave means that if you can be the target of an attack, if you are a valid target, you must be that target. So it's basically a way of putting a head on a character if you want to be attacked. Simple as that. And my advice, I'm afraid, is going to be fairly straightforward. If you really want to give yourself Brave, play Doomshot. If you don't play Doomshot. Brave hasn't really been that impactful on the game so far, but if you've got one character that you really want to be attacked, or to put it another way, other characters that you really don't want to be attacked, then yes, by all means, go for it. And it will work. But I don't like it with Megatron. It's not the one that I would personally choose to play with Megatron. Yes, I know that you can do cheeky damage when attacked, so making yourself the target of that attack does sound like fun. Honestly here, I am far more of a fan of just going for one of the bold heads and going a little bit nuts. But this Megatron intrigues me. I also love the fact that the first 2 comments over on the Facebook group when this was posted are, "Here's to hoping the 8th one is good, pass," followed by, "Why is this so good?" We know nothing until we actually start testing. It's fun to talk about, but we cannot talk with any certainty. I do, however, agree that unless you got a really specific build or you're really going for the revenge cheeky damage, I don't think you're going to want to play this with Doomshot. But there we go. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to know what you think about Megatron, and I'd like you to let me know in the comment section, so go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, where we talk Transformers and the new Digimon game, which looks really fun, and a whole bunch of others. And do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all kinds of fun stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.